We got everyone in, okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Capital Area Council. My name is Neil Armstrong, and I'm Council President. I'm really pleased to see several Eagle Scouts in the audience today. I'm also an Eagle Scout, and in 2020 I was honored with the National Outstanding Eagle Scout Award. I see a few other awardees here as well.
Could we have them all stand up and be ready?
Could we have those NOESA awardees stand up, please? But that award pales in comparison to why we are here today. We are gathered here this evening to honor and recognize Turk Pipkin for receiving the Distinguished Eagle Scout Award. The significance of this achievement cannot be understated. It was established over 55 years ago by the National Eagle Scout Association, and it recognizes adult eagles who have achieved prominence on the national stage, either through their profession, through voluntary service, or humanitarian efforts. This award is the highest honor an eagle can receive in our organization. You're going to hear more about this award from some of our speakers today, as well as the reason why Turk is receiving this award. For us Eagle Scouts, as we age, the importance of the Scout Oath and Scout Law grows heavier like a burden. But we remember that we must carry this burden, just as all eagles have who came before us. Many of us fail daily to live up to the ideals of the oath of law. Turk lives it flawlessly. He makes it look natural. Turk and Christy, it's an honor to know you both. We have a wonderful program scheduled today, and I hope you enjoy it. But before I get off the stage here, please join me in being the first to congratulate Turk on this achievement.
Good evening, everyone. Michael Files. I'm the Council Vice President of the Capital Area Council. On behalf of Christian Doe's Chair and Scott Thomas, Staff Advisor for the Capital Area Council, National Eagle Scout Association, I welcome you all to the Distinguished Eagle Scout Award ceremony. This ceremony recognizes Eagle Scout Turk Pipkin's remarkable achievements and dedication to scouting and its values. So I was also here to make a couple announcements for the Eagles in the room on behalf of Christian and Scott. The association hosts monthly meetings. There's a QR code in the back. So if you are an Eagle Scout and you don't have you're not on our distribution, I think there's 4 questions to the QR code. Please sign up. Also, the association will host a Eagle Scout Fellowship event on Sunday, October 27th at Smiling Review. Again, congratulations, sir. Please enjoy the rest of the
Hi, I'm Mark Bornberg. I've known Turk for quite a few years now, and this is a pleasure to get to speak. I think Turk is very worthy of the Distinguished Eagle Scout Award, and maybe the most worthy person I know. I think I was supposed to be on a fairly narrow thought, but that is not Turk. Throughout his storied career as an award-winning author, publisher, screenwriter, actor, comedian, photographer, activist, and humanitarian, he is always looking for ways to do more good. Watching him do this can just be exhausting. He has more varied interests than any man I've known, yet he always seems to find energy and a way to use those interests to raise money or awareness to help do more good for people that are less fortunate or have less opportunity. Turk likes to drink wine, so he creates a wine label that turns wine into water for schools in Kenya. He likes to play golf, so he creates a book about it and a pirate-themed golf event to raise money for libraries. He likes to read and write books, so So he creates a book club to distribute those books. He's written and raises money to build libraries in Kenya and Honduras. He helped create mobile libraries to deliver reading materials to rural areas in Roatan. He likes to travel, so he creates projects on the other side of the world where he can go where help is needed. He likes to photograph nature, so he creates images and movies to raise awareness for animals like the northern white rhino, monarchs, and flamingos that are facing extinction. When there's a forest fire, he figures out how to combine high school students that want to get out of the classroom with planting new trees in Bastrop. He likes to make films, so he creates a film interviewing Nobel laureates, which is what started the Nobelity Project. I'd like to tell you about the Nobelity Project. It's really amazing. It's a nonprofit organization that raises money in Austin, and with a shoestring budget, takes that knowledge and resources and builds schools and provides clean water on the other side of the world in Kenya. Turk not just sending this money, he actually goes with his wife in person, makes the connections, finds people with the most needs, meets with the schoolmasters, hires the contractor, and starts and finishes these projects. I got the opportunity to go with Turk on one of these trips and see the schools he's producing and the students he's helping on the other side of the world. It's not just one school. He makes multiple trips per year and starts or completes multiple schools most years. The location we were most involved in, Nobelity built a kindergarten, an elementary school, a high school, a library with administration offices, and a basketball court that collects rainwater for the dry season. Almost 20 years of time and effort have been invested in benefiting this one community, and they have expanded over the years to a dozen communities. One of the neatest things we saw on that trip was the local scout troop showing off their uniforms and raising a flag at one of the schools that Nobelity had provided a computer learning lab for their school. These were kids that barely had electricity in their community, but the Nobelity Project was bringing education up to the 21st century equipment so they had more opportunity. On that trip, Turk and his wife Christy introduced us to Joe, who was studying architecture at the University of Nairobi. Joe had received a scholarship as one of their high school students to go to college and study architecture. Now he's an intern at my architecture firm for the next year here in Austin. Turk never misses an opportunity to help people and to provide opportunity. Please take a few moments to look up the Nobelity Project. It's really amazing. They do great work. Turk's passion for service to others is truly inspiring to me and other scouts. He, along with his wife, had used filmmaking and philanthropic outreach through the Nobelity Project to spread hope through action, creating positive global change and displaying an exceptional level of selflessness. Furthermore, Turk's ability to connect with people of all backgrounds and ages has made him a natural leader and a mentor to all of us. Thank you, Turk.
Thank you for having me. My name's Frank Suru. I used to be, I guess I rolled off as the DESA, National Youth Scout Association president about 6 months ago. And it was great to get that monkey off my back. I say those were 6 years I was president, and I joke because it was there were 6 dog years, which is 42 years to us, so it's long. But I apologize for being late. I gave myself time, I thought. I took the Vaughn Lane bus service from Houston to Austin, and it's fabulous if there's no traffic and the bus is in good repair, which I failed on both. I knew I could to get here if I just had one of those, but Ben Turner was nice enough to pick me up, and he said, I'll be there, my scout uniform, and then I said, well, I'll be the only 6'3" Japanese guy in the parking lot. So we figured out how to find each other. So, anyways, I really enjoy these presentations. I speak across the nation, so Austin is very easy to get to. But from the East Coast to the West Coast, I have been had the opportunity to have both Gathering of Eagle events and DESA events, and I especially I don't do the DESA awards very often, and the reason being is I think it's very personal, and so when John asked me to do it, I hesitated a little bit because I didn't know Turk at all, and so but I said, yeah, I'd like to do that, come out, and I love John. John's a fabulous scouter, and I've known him for a long time. But I had an opportunity to really research Turk and his wife, Christy, and amazing people. Something, I just, it's like peeling away the onion skin, and every story I read was even better. So I said, absolutely, I want to do this. But first, I want to say that we need to open a court of honor, a national court of honor, and by the power vested in me as a board member of the National Executive Committee, I declare the special court of honor open, specifically to award the presentation of the Distinguished Eagle Scout Award to Turk Pipkin. Before we get to that presentation, I'd like to share some personal stories about my history and what has motivated me to be so involved with scouting at this age, and the different positions that I hold within the scouting organization. I'm on the National Executive Committee, and believe it or not, there's like 12 of us that run the whole DSA, and I was part of the sausage making, understanding what was going on with all the bankruptcy, and I can't even tell you, if I had a nickel for every hour that was spent doing that, I'd be a rich man. But anyways, so I want to start with my history. My journey, like many of my ancestors, is woven with the threads of adversity and triumph. The dark shadow of history looms large over as a stark reminder of the injustices faced by the Japanese Americans during one of the most turbulent times in our nation's narrative, which is World War II. The internment camps, a symbol of fear and discrimination, stands as a testament to the grave injustices inflicted upon innocent citizens simply because of their heritage. Yet, despite the indignities suffered by my parents and countless others, they chose a path of admirability and honor. They did not harbor resentment towards the government for its unjust actions. Instead, they embraced their new homeland with unwavering devotion. They understood that the true greatness lies not in the absence of challenge, but in how one rises above them. So for my parents, Boy Scouts and the journey to becoming an Eagle Scout became more than just a badge of honor. It was a declaration of their allegiance to a nation that had doubted their loyalty. They understood that being a Boy Scout was the best way to understand the ideals of being a great American. It was a pledge to prove wrong those who had cast doubt upon their patriotism. They were bound and determined to raise a family of great patriots and great Americans. Through their dedication and commitment to the principles of scouting, they sought to carve a new identity, one of unwavering dedication to the ideals of freedom, equality, and justice. So never did I ever imagine that I would hold so many positions at the highest levels of the DSA, and ultimately serving, as I said, as the president of of DESA for 6 years. But what really drives me are the decades-old words my parents encouraged me to, quote, be the very best American through the teachings and experiences of Boy Scouts. And those words have resonated in my mind my entire life and are the reason why I'm standing here today participating in the celebration of Scouting's most notable awards. Today we come together to recognize a truly remarkable individual, Turk Pipkin, as he receives this esteemed honor, the Distinguished Eagle Scout Award. As Mark said, and he had his personal remarks were awesome, this award is not bestowed lightly. In fact, it's so exclusive that more people have stood on the summit of Mount Everest than have donned the red, white, and blue ribbons of the DESA. That fact alone underscores the extraordinary significance of this moment here. You know, the DESA was first awarded in 1969, and since that time, some 2,500 people have received this award, so it's extremely exclusive. I want to go through some of the, my comments are from my research of the internet. It's not like Mark's personal experiences, but I want to share them with you because I just found them fascinating. So Turk's journey to this momentous occasion is one of dedication, perseverance, and unwavering commitment to the principles of Scouting. From his early days as a young scout to his present position as Distinguished Eagle Scout, Turk has embodied the values of Scouting in every aspect of his life, as was said before. But what truly sets him apart, however, is not just individual accomplishments, but his unwavering commitment to making a positive difference in the world. Through the founding of the Nobelity Project, which was fascinating to read about, Turk has utilized the characteristics and values of some of the most notable Nobel Prize winners to inspire innovation and positive change. His philanthropic efforts extend far beyond borders. The schools that Turk and Christy have built in Kenya stand as beacons of hope, providing education to generations who may otherwise have been denied this fundamental right. His dedication to education is not just about building schools. It's about equipping individuals and communities with solutions to break the cycle of poverty and create a better future for themselves and their children. So pretty close to what you did. Thanks.
We might need to get you to write that down.
So Turk exemplifies the spirit of leadership and service. As an accomplished actor, writer, filmmaker, and philanthropist, Turk has used his talents and resources to affect positive change in the world. Whether through his artistic endeavors, his advocacy for social causes, or philanthropic efforts, Turk has consistently demonstrated a deep commitment to making a difference in the lives of others. But really, what sets Turk apart from not just the individual achievements, but the way in which you've used your platform to inspire others to do the same. Your leadership is not defined by accolades or titles, but by your ability to empower and uplift those around you. I call you a true warrior. A great chieftain said, "Warriors are not what you think of as a warrior. A warrior is not someone who starts a fight because no one has the right to take another life for their gain. The warrior for us is one who sacrifices himself for the good of others. His task is to take care of the elderly, the defenseless, and those who cannot provide for themselves, and above all, the children of the future of humanity." Kind of really does fit just exactly what Turk stands for, and that was written by Sidney. As we gather here today to celebrate Turk's receipt of the Distinguished Eagle Scout Award, let us not only recognize his individual accomplishments, but also reaffirm our commitment to the values of Scouting. Let's be inspired by Turk's example to lead life of purpose, service, and integrity. Your journey to this moment has been extraordinary, and your receipt of the DESA Award is a testament to your exceptional leadership and dedication to Scouting ideals. On behalf of the Boy Scouts of America and all those gathered here today, I extend my heartfelt congratulations to you, and you continue to inspire others to leave a lasting legacy for generations to come. God bless you too. God bless the Boy Scouts of America. God bless the United States. Thank you, everybody. Come up, we have this fabulous ribbon here. Turk, come on up. Christy, come on up next to, you want to take a photo? Yeah, come on up here, stand next to your guy.
Well, that's hard to.
I know, I sit next to you.
Chris, you didn't bring your Girl Scout award.
Oh, you did? Oh, gold award? Fabulous.
Distinguished service.
Okay. We'll take a photo here. Okay. Turk, wow, congratulations. Wear this well, sir.
All right. Wow. Okay. I can tell I was woefully unprepared to spend the remarks because everyone else was not underprepared. But I want to thank Anush. I got a text from Mark Hornberg, your partner, who I'm sure was part of all this scheming that put this surprise on me when I first heard about it. I was like, whoa, really? And but Mark, I guess I'll get ahead of myself there, but I can't hardly tell you how much I wanted to be a scout, a Boy Scout when I was a Cub Scout. And I'm sure everybody knows that feeling. It was in scouting if you started in Cub Scouts. And I kept being told I wasn't old enough. You gotta wait till your birthday, you gotta wait till you're 12, you gotta wait. So I became a scout on my birthday, halfway through my 50-mile hike merit badge. I started actually as a Cub Scout and finished the hike with Boy Scout blisters, 100 and something degree weather, hiking the Toenail Trail in West Texas to Camp Salmeyer. And this just popped into my head, but the last night before we hiked into Camp Salmeyer, which was quite an event, we were camping in a farmer's field who had allowed us to camp there. And we noticed that there's an old couple that had this little ranch, and their field was completely full of limestone that had just come out. I'm sure some German family 100 years ago had cleaned it all out, and over the years the rocks had just kept appearing. And we asked them, we said, would you like us to help you get some of those rocks out of the field? And they said, oh, that'd be great. We've been trying to do that for 20 years, but we've never been able to just keep up with it. Or, a couple was pretty elderly at this point. So there were about 20 of us, and we lined up across this field, and we picked up rocks, and we threw them as far as we could, and we just kept picking up rocks and throwing them. And about 2 hours later, our shoulders were really sore, and there was a giant rock wall on the far end of the field. There wasn't a single rock out there, and that's when I realized, oh, this is what scouting is about. And but my grandfather, I remember when my father was awarded the Silver Beaver, Raymond Pipkin in San Angelo, and I remember that very clearly. And I also remember him telling me, this really reminds me and takes me back to when my father, his father, my grandfather, had been awarded the Silver Beaver. Both my brothers were Eagle Scouts, so it became pretty obvious, part of where that passion was. Anyway, the leading back to Mark Hornberg, I had ended up with somehow or another, and was in terrible condition, my father's Boy Scout National Jamboree poster, and it was just deteriorated and was 80 years old. And we were doing a Nobelity Project fundraiser, our Feed the Peace Awards, and I came up with the idea. I just kept thinking, how can I restore this poster, do something with it? And so we got Yeti to donate one of those big Yeti coolers, and we, with the help of an artist friend of mine, we cut it into pieces and we covered all the sides and the top with all the elements of this thing. And we auctioned it, silent auctioned it at our Feed the Peace Awards. And Mark Grodefeld, Mark Grodefeld, the other Thornburg, we'll get to in a second. Mark Grodefeld bought it and then said, I'm giving that to the Boy Scouts. So it's around here somewhere.
It's in my office. You want it down here? We can get it down here if you like. You can repurchase it if you like.
But anyway, thank you, Anush and Michael. Thank you for your comments. Mark, the trip to Kenya with you, and also say thanks to you and to your dad, to Jim Worthington. Oh, there you are. Hi. And it was great having you guys over there. It was great for you to see how strong scouting is in Kenya. And it's really a little bit, I mean, I always knew that Kenya, that Baden-Powell, I knew in the area, Kenya, it's where Baden-Powell's final resting place, and there's an International Boy Scout Museum there, which could really use a little sprucing up. And I knew that was there, but I didn't really think about it that much when I first went over there to interview Wangari Maathai, the first African woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize for her tree planting group, the Green Belt movement. But it didn't occur to me that there were still scout troops everywhere. So we're now thinking about 52 schools that we work with in Kenya, and we haven't built all these schools from the ground up, but we've built all or part of all these 52 schools. And especially up there in the Mount Kenya region, there's a scout troop at almost every school, and there are lots of girls in scouting over there. So we're seeing this big change in scouting right now. People are saying, I can't believe it, you're gonna let girls in. And I'm like, girls have always been a part of scouting. Girls will always be a part of scouting, and scouting will always be with us. And so that makes this a really great honor. Frank, thank you. Great comments. I'm thinking that after you got off that bus, that description of how to find you, I'm thinking that you're the only 6'2" Japanese gentleman in almost any parking lot. I came in to see everybody in the Scout, the Eagle Scouts, everybody in their uniforms, and there's two reasons why I'm not in my uniform. I feel a little self-conscious, but I'm not in my uniform, partially because what we were just discussing, my Philmont jacket comes down to about here. I kept growing for quite some time. I may still be growing. We debated about that in our house. And so, I couldn't possibly get in it. I actually tried to get my sash, my very bad sash on, and I almost couldn't get my hand and my neck through it. So I guess I was a lot smaller when I was a scout. But in some ways, I wore my Mara Elephant Project, which is only made all the better by this. It's a beautiful thing, and by the American flag here. But in some ways, this is my scout uniform now. Scouting is what led me to a lot of the things I've done in my life. And specifically, we're doing this education work. I actually went to Kenya to plant trees, not to build schools. It wasn't going to a school to plant trees the first time when they said, well, we don't have any water to water the trees. And I was like, well, then we want to build a water system. And then they said, we actually, now that we have a water system, we could really use a library. and then we started working on the primary school, and then they said, we don't have a high school. There's these kids finishing grade done. And so we started building a secondary school, and it all just flowed from there. But Austin is one of the reasons that we were able to do all that. I think if we were been trying with most of the fundraising, not all, we've had supporters off from all over the world, but the majority of the funding has been in Austin, Texas, or in Central Texas. And I don't think that we could have done any of this anywhere else. I mean, I remember we took one of our, I don't mean to throw LA under the bus, but that's pretty easy. But we took our film one piece at a time for a big LA premiere. We had a distributor. We were at the ArcLight Cinema, which is the old Cinerama Dome. It's the best place you can have a premiere. We had Matthew McConaughey and Dennis Quaid and Peter Fonda and all these celebrities there for the red carpet and the whole thing. And I called my agents up at CAA, Creative Artists, and said, hey, we're doing the screening. The tickets are $50. It's a benefit for school. And agents to a person all said, we don't buy tickets. We're agents. And in Austin, there's nobody would ever say, hey, can I get in free? Everybody's like, how can I help? How can I help? How can I help? Everybody, you know. So there's maybe more scouts out there than we realize. We live in a world where we think it's all divided up in left and right, and red and blue, and now a couple other purples, and purples and other colors that I'm not even sure about. The political world is the definition of our world, and I would like to think that scouting is a lot closer to the definition of what makes this country great than the kind of current state politics. I don't care what any of your politics are. All I care about is the scouts, and I know you do good things as well. So those are my remarks. I'm really touched and humbled. This is quite beautiful. So thank you.
Thank you so much for allowing us to honor you. And I want to, John Yates serves the Scout Executive. It's a privilege to be able to serve as the Scout Executive and CEO here, Capital Area Council, serving 15 counties here in Central Texas. I want to thank everybody for coming and helping us make this, I think, a very special occasion. I want to thank all the speakers and news. Thank you for your leadership as council president and kicking us off. Michael, thanks for all your work. You and I have partnered together to try to make sure that scouting is happening in every part of our council. Michael's opened doors for us that have never truly been ever been open. And I think through our group, maybe Michael's efforts, we might be starting scout packs and troops in each one of the housing authority of St. Austin's communities and serve hundreds. Mark, I'm talking about your dad. Is that okay? I'm going to skip to you and talk about your dad. Is that all right? 2 years ago, Jim calls me. Warrenberg calls me and says, I need your help. I need your help to make sure that this nomination for somebody I think is worthy of Distinguished Eagle Scout it gets the attention it needs because this guy needs this award. I'm slightly, Frank, you just mentioned how rare this award is given, right? 2,400. And how many Eagle Scouts? 1.4 million Eagle Scouts, 2,500 Distinguished Eagles. That's a ratio of, that's not a good ratio, right?
There's actually 2.5 million.
2.5 million, thank you. So now it's even less.
1/10 of 1%.
1/10 of 1%. And the Eagle Scouts, it's not like those 2.5 million aren't doing great things. They're all doing great things. And so you can only be the 0.1. What's the 0.1 of 1%? That's amazing. So I had a little doubt of the, well, maybe this is just somebody that's a really good scout, but probably not going to get recognized. But I said, send me what you have. And I read it. I read the nomination. I said, I need to get this man. This person is special. So I asked my good friend Michael Wiles to help me take some of what Jim had written, put a little more, even more research into it, and put together, I thought, what was a worthy nomination package. And so that was 2 years ago. It took a little while to get from there to here. But Jim, I want to thank you for your persistence. Persistence is a value that we all learn as scouts. I appreciate that first call, urging me on to take a note of this nomination. Frank, I didn't see any hesitancy when I called you or emailed you and asked for your help. I didn't realize that you had some hesitancy. I almost felt like I immediately got an email back and said, I'm in. And I couldn't have asked, when I thought about having tonight, being able to present this award, I couldn't think of anybody more appropriate and that could raise the level of this ceremony than you. And I want to thank you for doing that. You're taking the time from here, you're headed to your family vacation at another park, And so you've got a crazy schedule, but then you put time aside to do this. Thank you so much for doing that. Turk, I'm having, I'm just a man of stories. I have the same stories I say over and over again. All these folks that here have heard my stories all over. But I'm having to change my story around the Distinguished Eagle Scout Award. I used to say that the only way you could get the award was to be an astronaut or a president of the United States. Now I have to add humanitarian. It makes a difference in life in our world. And the reason I work so hard at what I do here to try to make sure that we are running our program. Our council has really put on a huge effort right now. We just passed a strategic plan to grow our program, not just 1%, not just +1, but we want to be growing at 10% per year to get more youth in our program. And what drives me is to realize that some of those folks that go through our program are going to have that same level of dedication to the service of others that you do. And you are a model of where we want to be. Thank you for being a great example for all Eagle Scouts to follow. It's been an honor to be a part of this and behind the scenes to help recognize such a worthy Eagle Scout with this award. Congratulations. I also have a commercial. Michael, you had a commercial. Way back in the back is T Star. T is our council alumni chair and council historian. And our alumni committee, under his leadership, is an umbrella that's really trying to connect. What is an alumni? An alumni is, as Keith tells me, anybody that's had a positive experience in Scouting. That's what classifies as an alumni, an alumnus alumni. And we have just kickstarted an effort called the Frank Fickett Fixers. There's so much that we want to do to support our volunteers and to make sure that our program is very best. So he, in his efforts, is causing volunteers, is opening the doors. When you used to walk in the hospitals in the 70s and you saw a candy stripe uniform, you knew that you were talking to a volunteer that's going to give you attention and support. But we don't have candy stripes, but we have blue shirts. And we're going to have volunteers that are going to help us double or triple what we have in the staff to allow us to really give the best service to our volunteers. Ben Turner, our council, our territory, Ben, thank you for what you do in the National Scouting Program. Ben says that you got two stories when you start talking about Scouts, and the second one's always about your Scout Master. We want to make sure that those Scoutmasters, den leaders, committee chairs are getting the very best support because they are truly heroes. So T, thank you for your effort. I bet T, if you're interested, or you know folks that might be interested in coming once a month to provide some service to leaders, T would certainly take your information. T, thanks for your leadership for that effort. And that's my commercial. I think we stand adjourned. Oh, we got to close. We got to close the code of order. I'll let Frank do that. That's more. I'm not on the national board.
I left out something very important when I was thanking people, which is I didn't thank John Yates. So you have
All right, there's nothing spectacular about this. Like I said, I really enjoy being part of the ceremonies that are out there across the United States, and so many great opportunities to meet fabulous honorees and tremendous volunteers and Scout staff. Let me tell you, thank you so much for what you're doing, because there is nothing better for young boys and young girls to be part of than Scouting America. It is the premier youth training program in the world. And safety, I am the chair, national chair of the Youth Safeguarding Committee. And we're doing so much to make sure that young boys and young girls are safe. Number one thing is safety. And so thank you very much. I call this Court of Honor closed.